Okay, I've been wanting to make this video for a while, but it's actually kind of a hard video to make because I have to explain the history of where I've been in my weight loss struggles over probably 10 years now. And I want to try to get everything in so you understand everything. First of all, this is a video about intermittent fasting. That means fasting like every other day or every 3 days or something. This is a video about weight loss. And this is a video about weight loss for older people. I'm not 20, I'm 40. I'm in my 40s, 43. So if you're expecting something different than weight loss video, intermittent fasting, this isn't the video for you. Please go away, don't comment. This is nothing to do with calorie restriction or this has nothing to do with anything else but weight loss, okay? Now, I'm going to get into this now, and I'm sorry I'm rambling, but I want to get everything right, and I want to give a disclaimer so people that come here expecting something different aren't mad about it, okay? Because that happens a lot. People come to a video and they're mad about how you did it, and they get mad. So, all right. Okay, so I've been making a lot of videos lately, and I noticed, you know, the more videos I make, I can't believe how fat I've gotten, okay? And over the last 10 years, I've really struggled. And what I've learned is what used to work in the past doesn't work anymore. Back when I was 25, I went on Weight Watchers and I lost a bunch of weight, just straight down. Just cut calories, exercise, straight down, okay? Then a little bit later in my 30s, I tried the same thing and it was like, didn't quite go down the same way, right? And then I've tried it a couple times since, didn't lose a pound, nothing. I just, even though I cut calories, it did not work. Things have changed over time. The things that used to work don't work anymore. And at age 43, I have learned that exercise does not help me lose weight. No matter how much I do, it only helps a little bit. I would say it's probably about 10% of the entire of diet and exercise. Exercise only helps me about 10% of the entire thing. Exercise 10%, diet is 90% of the picture. That's what I'm trying to say. Let me give you the history. Sorry it's taking so long. Okay, so in 2015, I started a diet exercise regimen, a very difficult one, and where I decided I didn't want to be fat anymore. I'm going to lose the weight again, okay? And I started watching videos on YouTube about these vegan cyclists, and I really got into biking and cycling, and I really like it, and I still do it. And they were, okay, so I tried being vegan, and it worked to a point, and then it stopped working. So in about March of 2015 is when I started running, biking, and swimming. And I'm a triathlete. I do a lot of triathlons. But I've always struggled with my weight, which has always held me back. Because if you're 220 pounds and you're running up a hill, the little girls that are 110 pounds will just right by you. No matter how strong you are, they'll just... The guys that weigh 140 pounds, they run 5-minute miles and you're running 12-minute miles. If you're fat, you are not going to be fast in biking and running, okay? So I have a very strong interest in losing weight because I want to be able to run a lot faster. I should be in the 7.5 to 8-minute miles, and now the best I can do all out is a 9.5-minute mile, and I'm winded. So anyway, this is my history. This is when I started recording. So this is chronometer.com. It's free, and I put in my weight. Every single one of these is a data point where I put in my weight. And I did it, just so you know, for record's sake, I did it in the morning, wearing no clothes, as soon as I woke up. So that's like the most accurate way you can get your weight is with no clothes on. It's consistent, and early in the morning when you're at the most dehydrated point. It's very consistent. It's as consistent as you can get. So these are all data points. In March 9th, 2015, I started doing the vegan thing, and I lost a lot of weight. But then, if you notice down here, from March, well, let's see, June-ish to November, I plateaued. And I'll tell you more about this later, but I got tired of plateauing, and I gave up on the diet because I was doing this pretty stringent diet, and it's hard to eat at restaurants and all. And I plateaued, so I lost motivation. Every time I plateau, I lose my motivation, especially for a long period. I think, well, if this isn't working, then what's the point, right? So there's more to my history here, but this is when I just started keeping records. So this is when I was vegan. I went from 221 all the way down to 195, and then I could not get any lower than that. And you might think, well, were you exercising? Well, let's take a look. So Strava is a website where you use your GPS watch, and you can upload your workouts to Strava, and it keeps track of all of your workouts, and you tell it whether you were running, swimming, biking, skiing, or whatever. So everything I have in here is either I was swimming, biking, or running, pretty much. And if we were to go back and look at the kinds of exercise I was doing in the middle of 2015, I would jump down here and go to, let's see, in May, and over here you have the number of hours per week that I was spending swimming, biking, and running. And these workouts are, there's no fluff in them. When you start to watch, that's when I start biking. When I stop the watch, that's when I stop. So I'm not counting the time where I'm getting there and getting ready and all. So this is real, actual workout time that this represents. So let's look in the month of May when I was doing the vegan thing in 2015, and you can see that over here. I was putting in 13, 14 hours a week, 6 hours a week, 8.5, 8 hours a week, every week, 9 hours. I was doing these 60, this is a 60-mile bike ride that I did, and these are hard. These are hills. You're like going uphill. You're struggling to go up hills and down and back up again. And I was burning, and it kind of tells you here that I was burning 2,200 calories, right, on these bike rides. And I was burning, there were times I was burning 3,000 calories, right? And the reason I show that is because you need to know that when I was doing this, I was doing a ridiculous amount of training. And I was really excited about it, and I really like exercise. I really like swimming, biking, and running. I do. But I expected it to help me lose weight, and it wasn't doing it. I was being very strict vegan, and I was swimming, biking, and running as much as you see here. Some of these workouts were ridiculous. Some of them I biked 100 miles. There's a few in here I biked 100 miles. And I would run half marathons and things like that. But I wouldn't get getting below 200 was ridiculous. Now, it was then I started to learn that whatever's happened inside of me over the last years, I'm doing more exercise than I've ever done, and I'm not losing weight. How is that? Okay, so over time, I'm having fun doing these things, and that's fine. But I've started to learn that exercise, and what I've learned is what I'm doing now is different, and that's what this video is about. It's what I'm doing now. It's why I'm fasting this weekend, and it's why fasting works. So let's go back in history, and I'm going to explain these other peaks and valleys here too, because they're interesting also. By the way, I'm not telling you this stuff because I'm bragging or because I want you to know about me. I'm telling you because it may apply to you, and I'm going to tell you how I'm losing weight, and it's working. And I'm over here right now, and my weight is dropping really fast, and I'll get to that later. So if we go way back, even years before I started keeping these records in chronometer, I lost, okay, first of all, let's look at my height. My height is in 221, and recently I was almost to 230 pounds. I'm 5'11", by the way. That's way too much. By all accounts and measures, I should be about 175, which to me seems really skinny, but let's try to get there. Anyway, so my high lately, my highs have been higher, and my lows have been higher over time. So whereas before my low used to be 190s, now my low is a 205, and then my low was 215, and my highs have gotten from 220s all the way up to 230, close to 230. So things have gotten worse and worse and worse for me, no matter what I do. And like I said, all these hours I've been putting in, exercise don't work. So we could say, oh, you need to eat less calories. Well, I mean, tell me I need to exercise more? Are you kidding me? 10 hours a week, 14 hours a week, 9, 11, 12. I was doing it and it wasn't working, and I know why now. Okay, let's go back in time before this history. And I went on another diet about 6 or 7 years ago, and I was about 216, and I got all the way down to 178 pounds. And I did it using intermittent fasting, weightlifting, high intensity training. That's how I did it back then. But I've kind of forgot about how to do that, and I also kind of got it takes a lot of motivation to fast, and it takes a lot of effort, and I kind of got to where I was scared to do it again. So I kind of like brushed it off and thought, well, maybe I can just eat vegan, and maybe I can just cut calories. And I kind of forgot about how I lost that weight, because I lost about 30, 40 pounds doing what I'm doing now. And the reason I gained the weight back is usually because if you look here, notice that I stopped in November. Well, usually that's when it gets cold outside. And when it gets cold, I really, really do not like the cold. And I go inside and I pretty much quit swimming, biking, and running because it's just so cold outside and I can't stand it. And I stop exercising, and then the winter comes and I get busy with something and I just start eating bad. These periods of where I gained the weight, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, that's where I basically was eating whatever I wanted. There was no restrictions whatsoever. It was sodas, candies, whatever, bread, anything I would eat. That's where I gained my weight. Okay? Those are periods of time where I just said, I didn't even exercise, nothing. I just I'm tired, I just want to do something else. So I fully understand why I gained my weight back. It's because I mentally just gave up and didn't care, or I got distracted, or got busy, got stressed, all that stuff. I'm fully aware of why I gained my weight back. That's my fault. I got my eye off the ball, and I knew it. So back here in this history a few years ago, I got from 216 all the way down to 176, which would be off the chart low down here. But ever since then, you can see where I dropped. This is where I was vegan. Okay, now let's go back to where we are now. And then the winter comes of 2015, and I stop exercising. It's too cold outside. I give up, drink a lot of beer. And then I think in this area in 2016, I tried the same thing. This time I went vegan again, and I dropped some, but then I plateaued real fast. I couldn't get below 205. And you think, well, were you exercising? Well, let's take a look. August 2016. August 2016. 9 hours of exercise, 8 hours of exercise, 7.5 hours, 9, 10 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours. Look at this. This is a 5.5 hour. This is a 24-mile run that I did. So this particular race was a 6-hour run. And what you do is you go in a circle for 6 hours, and you can run or sit or walk as much as you feel like. And you just try to go around this 1.5 mile circle as much as you can. And I did that for one of my workouts. It took 5.5 hours, 24.7 miles. By the way, I'm about to do this again in 2 weeks. It's really fun. It's fun because you can sit. If you don't feel good, you just sit, and then you get kind of bored. You're like, oh, I'll just go do another lap. Why not? And you can do a lot more than you think you can. Anyway, look at this. I ran 24.7 miles. So don't tell me that I'm not exercising enough. Those people that say, oh, it's just calories in and calories out. Oh, really? There was times in here where I was cutting calories and running 6 hours in the middle of 2016. I was doing 3 hours. Occasionally I would take a week off, but 9 hours, 5.5 hour runs. This is a 100-mile bike that I did during this period. 100 miles. I rode just on my own. I went all the way up from St. Charles all the way up to the river and back. It took 6 hours and 40 minutes, a 1,600 feet climb. This says I burned 3,000 calories. Now, here's one problem though, is when you exercise that much, you end up getting more hungry. Your appetite goes up. But I was trying being vegan and doing these, and it didn't work this time. All right, all of this is coming back to a point that I'm going to be making. in that earlier this year, okay, I did not understand what was going on, but I will get to that. It was very confusing. Here I'm working out 10 hours a week. I'm cutting calories and I'm not losing weight. So my wife and I said, let's try Weight Watchers again. This time it's different. We'll try it really carefully. And so the very first week of Weight Watchers in January of this year, the first week I gained like 2 pounds. I was so angry. I was cutting calories and I gained weight. And I'm like, if I'm going to cut calories and gain weight, then I'm screwed. I stuck with it though, and I went from like 224 down to about 215, and then I struggled again and then said, this is too hard, and I gave up again. And at this point, I pretty much said, I apparently am broken, I'm weird, I can exercise 10 hours a week. I was exercising a lot too. I was lifting weights too. People out there are going to say, oh, you're doing too much cardio. Okay, well, a lot of this period in here, I was doing weight training, and I decided not to do as much cardio. So I was doing more weights, more weight training. I was walking, I was doing Weight Watchers, I lost weight, and then I plateaued, and I gave up again. And I pretty much at this point said, I've tried everything. It was at this point recently where I got up to close to 230, and I started doing some research, and I found out that if you are insulin resistant, or if you have a problem with your hormones, or if you've damaged your insulin system, no amount of exercise in the world will help you lose weight. And the reason why is because insulin, when there's a high level of insulin in your body, it will actually stop the fat loss no matter what you do. It will stop the loss and add to your fat stores. And I found out that when diabetics are given insulin, they gain weight every single time. Now, I'm not going to get into the science of this because I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a doctor. If you go look for Dr. Jason Fung, F-U-N-G, if you Google his videos, he explains it all. And I started watching his videos, and he says pretty much what's happening is I have high levels of insulin, and it doesn't matter what you do or what you eat. When your insulin is high, your body is programmed to store fat. And if you cut calories, cutting calories does not work. So if you start cutting calories, your body will detect the change in weight, and it will slow your metabolism down, and to protect you from losing more weight. So the second you start dieting, your body will slow down on purpose and block you from losing more weight. That's why you plateau. Oh my God, I had no idea. That's why cutting calories doesn't work. Cutting calories does not work, and I've proven it because I plateaued so many times doing that. I'm also going to say this video it may not apply to you because I have reached different points throughout my life where diet and exercise worked at one time, but it does not work anymore. This is a very important point, and I think it's because over time I've become insulin resistant, and I have high levels of insulin in my body, which will automatically keep you from losing weight. Therefore, if you listen to Dr. Jason Fung and you try intermittent fasting, so what happens is when you fast or when you consume, let's say, what happens when you consume throughout the day? Every time you eat something, your insulin goes up, and the insulin is there to keep your blood sugar low so you don't go... It's there to regulate the sugar in your blood, and I'm not going to try to explain it, but it's there. Every time you eat, it goes up, and if you eat all the time throughout the day, it stays high. And over the years, it will stay high all the time, and it will get worse and worse. That's probably what was happening to me, is that I'm probably pre-diabetic, despite all my exercise and everything, and my insulin wasn't going down, and so fat was just going straight to my body no matter what I did. All right, the fix to that is to eat bigger meals and longer times in between those meals. That way your insulin goes up and then has a chance to come back down and burn fat. So in a skinny person, what happens is they'll eat and their insulin will come right back down and they'll start burning the fat immediately. But in a fat person, your insulin will go up and it will stay up here, and you won't burn any fat. It just doesn't work. So the good news is there's a way to fix that, and it is through fasting. When you fast, all the food goes out of your body and your insulin starts to go way down, and your body turns to burning fat instead of not burning fat, instead of burning sugar. So you're turning your body into, and part of this is what they call a ketosis diet, or what I'm not really doing that. What I'm doing is I'm fasting, and I'm seeing dramatic weight loss as usual, and I'm cutting out a lot of sugars. I'm not eating any candy, any soda, any breads, any pastas. I'm eating more vegetables. I'm eating more oils. I'm cooking and more meats, not tons of meat, but more meat. And I'm cooking lots of vegetables in oils and butters and things like that. And I'm also fasting probably 2 or 3 times a week, 24 hours a day. I currently just started my first ever 36-hour fast. I started last night at 9. Here it is at 9 again. I'm at 12 hours right now. 9 o'clock tonight, I'll be at 24 hours, and then 9 o'clock the next morning, Saturday morning, I will be at 36 hours, and I'm going to see how I feel. And so basically, fasting has caused this weight loss, and let me show you up close what that looks like. I'm going to go to the last 8 weeks. So in the last 8 weeks, I was keeping records, but I actually did not start this until about early August, which it's August 25th right now. So I'm 25 days in pretty much. And here's where I really started dieting. I went from 227, 225, 223, 223, 222, 219, 218, 216, and then today I'm 215. I've been at 215 for a couple days now. What happens is every time when I do intermittent fasting, my weight will go down, and instead of like normal diets going back up, when I intermittent fast, it'll go down and it will stay there. So when I hit 215 now, I'll be 215, and this is what's working for me right now. So intermittent fasting, cutting out the sugars. I'm still exercising, but I do not expect exercise to help me. All you need to do is walk. Do a little walking, and that's good enough. But I'm still exercising anyway, and sometimes I exercise in a fasted state just because I can, and I feel fine. I feel absolutely great. This is the easiest type of diet to do. And let me tell you, if you're thinking about fasting, first of all, almost every culture or religion in the world already fasts. So this isn't weird. This isn't new. It's just something in America that people freak out when you tell them you're going to fast. Doing a 24-hour fast, the first time I did it recently was really hard. The second time I did it, it was way easier, and now it's so easy to do a 24-hour fast. All I have to do is eat. I skip breakfast, and I skip lunch, and then I eat again in dinner, and I eat probably a little bit more than I used to. But the foods, non-carbohydrate foods, are very filling. Oils, oil-type foods, it's basically a higher fat, lower sugar. Whereas before when I was vegan, it was high sugar, low fat. Now I'm doing high fat, low sugar. And the fat makes you feel very full. And the difference is you could eat, and they say you could eat maybe a gallon of ice cream, right, and still be hungry. But if you ate three drumsticks of chicken, you're so full you don't want to eat anything else. So I'm eating more nuts. I am eating tons of vegetables. I cooked my first beet ever the other day. I baked the beet and then cut it into little dices, and then later I threw it in a smoothie, and I'm throwing the beet leaves into the smoothie. I'm getting tons of vitamins, tons of minerals, but I am fasting every few days. And I'm not normally going to fast so much, but I have a lot of weight to lose. I want to get down in the 170s, and I think my running will be automatically faster. Anyway, that's where I am right now. I will probably check in again at my 36-hour mark, but I'm on a 36-hour fast. This is a really long video. I'm sorry about that, but I needed to give the history of where I've been. I hope I didn't leave anything out. I'm going to summarize again real quick. This is where I was vegan. I lost a lot of weight, but I plateaued. Here's where it got cold and wintry and I gave up. And then I tried vegan again and went down and plateaued, and then vegan again and plateaued, and I couldn't get below 205. Winter came again in 2016, and I gave up. Then I tried, this year I tried Weight Watchers, and it was really horrible cutting calories, and I gained weight the first week, and then I plateaued and gave up. The things that were working in the past don't work for me anymore, and so now I'm fasting, and there's a sharp decline in my weight. The way it comes off when you fast is in pounds at a time. Sometimes I'll even skip a pound. I'll go from 218 and all of a sudden I'll be at 216, 215, and I never even got stuck at 217. Now, I know you're not supposed to weigh yourself every day. I totally understand that. You're supposed to do it every week. But I know my body very well. I know when I eat the night before, I'm going to be higher in the morning. When I don't eat, I'm going to be lower in the morning. I almost can predict exactly what I'll be the next morning. I drop about almost 3 pounds exactly from night till morning, and I monitor it closely. I don't recommend that for most people, but I understand what I'm doing, and I don't get discouraged because I know the patterns. I know you're not supposed to look at it every day, but I also am aware of that, and I want to look at it every day. I also want the data points. So I put these data points in here so I have accurate records, and I know, and having these records helps me look back in time and make this video. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. I'm gonna make also a full video showing me losing weight. I'm taking video in the mirror every week and I have my measurements. I've lost 1.5 inches off my waist already. So I'm getting faster and faster. I'm getting faster running and biking too while doing this. Actually, literally, I've lost about 12 pounds. I literally feel lighter when I run, and I'm still way too heavy. All right, that's it.